Hello everybody, this is Lodge. In this video I am once again going to be talking about my experience in the Halo games while I play them on the LASO difficulty. Now for this video there are going to be some differences from my last LASO video. For starters, I'm actually recording my playthrough of the campaign so you can see actually how I see going through these levels. While you're watching this video you may notice that Common Evolve has a skull that randomly turns off one part of your HUD. You can see different things turned off throughout the same level. The reason is because I am really bad at the game and died a lot. Secondly, as you can probably guess from the title of this video, this is going to be Common Evolve Part 1, and the reason is because I was taking forever to actually finish the game, and I wanted to put out a video to show my progress. So I thought about splitting up the game would be a good idea since the library is taking a while to go through. So this video will be all the way from the start of the game all the way to 343 Guilty Spark. I hope that makes sense as to why I'm doing it this way, and as with the last video I wanted to say that I was able to complete these levels with the help of Halo Completionist's amazing videos. You should all go check him out, as he has a wonderful guides on pretty much every Halo achievement you can ever need help with. And the link to his channel will be in the description if you want to go check him out. And with that out of the way, let's get on to the video. And we start off the level and the game by waking up and then almost immediately dying from an explosion on the ship. After looking at the Marines fight for their lives, I finally find Keys and he tells us what the situation is. He then gives me a pistol and Cortana, and then this is where the game actually shows how difficult it can be. Now since this whole level is inside a ship with somewhat linear hallways, there are almost no times you can skip enemies, so I would have to literally fight them all. Now something interesting with Common Evolved is that there are some skulls on this game that are not in any other Halo games. One of the skulls would be the Grunt Funeral. This skull has all the grunts explode upon their untimely end. Now this in itself would not be too difficult, you just shoot them from far away and let them explode, right? However, since I have all the skulls on, the boom skull makes all the explosions much larger, so every time a grunt dies, it's going to be a giant explosion that would destroy all in its radius. So the main plan for this going through the level will be first take out all the grunts, and with their end, they'll help take out the rest of the squad of enemies. However, for some reason, on this mission in particular, grunt explosions would not go off until you're fairly close to them. In other levels, you can take them out from pretty far away and you'll basically be fine, but you gotta get up close and personal with these. And with this main strategy of getting rid of the enemies, it was not too hard to go through the rest of the mission, just a lot of trial and error that takes up a lot of time since there are no real tricks. The only time you can skip a mission is with the room and the staircase, where all the Marines have all the attention of the enemies, so you're able to just rush through that quick enough. Other than that though, this mission is overall not too hard, and honestly a pretty good way to start a LASO campaign overall. And now after evacuating the ship and crash landing on Halo, I now begin to do a trick that will despawn some of the enemies by jumping on some cliffs for a simple despawn trick. Though this trick is not that big of a deal if you can do the trick or not, since all you have to do is shoot some grunts to have them explode and take out the elites. And after walking through the woods, I came across this Forerunner Tower thing. I've been playing Halo for so many years and I still don't actually know what this place is called or what its purpose lore-wise is. Despite that, I just let all my Marines try their best to survive the Covenant waves while I watch it from afar. Spoiler, they do not make it very long. Once all the Marines were down, the Covenant squad slowly made their way to my position, but for some reason they would stay back quite a bit, which allowed me to take out all the grunts and have them explode the rest of the squads. I did this for about 4 to 5 waves, and when the last wave happened, I ran back to where I started until a red waypoint would come on my screen, which told me that all the enemies had despawned. I then got the Warthog from Foehammer and started to drive into this not naturally formatted cave. I quickly drove through the Covenant and climbed up the control panel to activate the bridge and skip all those elites that were trying their best to keep me from pressing the button. I jumped back down to the car and started to drive away, leaving them behind. When we re-emerged to the outside world, it was time to try and save all the surviving humans. However, instead of saving them to complete the mission, you could also just end their lives quickly and it'll give you the same results. I had the Gunner and Warthog do most of the work to get rid of the enemies enough for me to make my way to the Marines and handle them myself, since the Covenant could not do their job effectively. Sadly, my Gunner had to be left behind so I could pick up some more Marines for extra firepower later on. Then I drove the Warthog to the area where the snipers are, and I almost died trying to take the 2 Marines with me. I sadly had to leave one of them to perish because there were sadly not enough seats on this Warthog. Then I continued to drive with my 2 Marines buddies to find the final surviving Marines. Except for this last area, my Marines and I had to fight off the Covenant all on our own. I dropped the 2 Marines I just risked my life for at the entrance, and I picked up the others to replace them. Except this time one of them had a sniper rifle, so it would be easier to pick off the enemies while I drove around and hope that my 2 Marines would save the day. After driving in circles for what honestly felt like hours, my Marines defeated all the enemies and Foehammer came down to save us. This mission honestly wasn't too bad. Except for the waiting at the start, there was not a lot of tricks and the Marines could do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Though I guess the next mission, almost anything would seem easier. Now, I know what you may be thinking, this mission isn't too bad, it's just a little bit of a longer level. Well, I'm gonna say this right now, this mission may be the hardest mission in all of CE. And I'm pretty confident saying this, even though at the time of recording this, I have not been in the library in 2 betrayals. But man, this level is a pain to go through. Now starting this mission, you are given a sniper with a lot of starting ammo and an assault rifle. And this is one of the few, if not the only mission that doesn't give you a pistol like ever in the level. And with CE's honestly super weird skulls, you are not allowed to even pick up a Covenant weapon. So you're stuck with these 2 weapons for the entirety of the level, with no way to do the infinite ammo glitch, so you better conserve your ammo and aim well. This mission starts off pretty simple though, as I do what I've been doing for the previous missions, just start picking off the grunts, and hope that they will take out their surrounding friends as well, and their explosions as they fall. Once my Marines and I clear out the area, I push ahead past some jackals, that are pretty much only interested in the Marines behind me, as I then just smack them to regain my shields, and snipe behind a rock to get rid of the enemies ahead. This takes more tries than I would have liked, to be honest. But after taking out an elite that would not push up until I did, I climbed up a tree to take out the remaining enemies in the area. Once again, I push up, this time without any Marines to back me up, and this is where you finally get able to do some sort of trick to get past a lot of enemies. So I back smacked 2 jackals, got my shields up back all the way, and I snapped the grunt and the gunner, and a walking elite to just book it to the active camo and run to the next area. It's important to know you do not want to kill more than 4 enemies here, as that will not make this trick work. Once I got into the opening, I jumped over the elite squad to continue my advance. Since I skipped the entire last section and moved to the next load zone, this will make sure that while I slowly take out the enemies in the next area, I do not have to worry about anyone coming from behind to kill me, since they would have been despawned. And in the next area, I have to carefully take down every single enemy. This section can honestly be kind of difficult. There are a lot of enemies in this section, so it can be pretty easy to quickly die. So I stayed back in this section so I could hide behind this rock and get some well-needed cover. This rock is also useful because it can cover me from the grunt explosions, and those of course hurt all the other enemies trying to kill me. Well, after taking out enough enemies, the hunters spawn down. Luckily, they can die from 1 shot to the back with a sniper rifle. Though I didn't want to get too close to them because of how long it took to get to this point. Though after honestly being terrible at the game and not being able to hit them in the back, it was the only way. And I still missed. Though after trying again and again, I finally did it. The Marines and I beamed up into the ship for hopefully an easier time. Little did I know, it was not going to be an easier time. Like, at all. Well, in this next section, we are finally in the ship, and the goal for this room is to be able to have a specific door open, then hide in it and kill all the enemies. Then after traversing some more areas and killing more and more of the enemies, after dying over and over and over again, I finally make it to the hangar. And boy, do I see this room a lot. Now for this room, usually you have to fight a lot of enemies before Katana is able to open the doors so you can walk into the rest of the ship and get to the top floor, but you can actually skip it. And to skip it, you just have to take out a couple enemies that block your path to the side of the room. And that part isn't too bad, just make sure you can snipe a few enemies, and you should honestly be good. But that isn't the hard part of this room, and the thing that made me reset over and over again. You have to do a grenade jump onto the top floor from this box, and man, it can take forever to actually pull this off. But after what felt like a million tries, I somehow did it. Even though this trick can be hard to pull off, let me tell you, it'll be so worth it. You'll basically skip so many enemies, this mission will not feel like a total pain and agony that it will end up being. And even get to the end of the mission a little earlier than you usually would. But sadly, this mission isn't even close to being finished yet. As I make my way through some more hallways, I find the control room. I have to kill every single enemy in this room. This isn't too bad since you get all our cover and hopefully you still have sniper ammo. Though disorderly rushing you can be kind of scary the first couple times. Oh, and if you run out of sniper ammo, your assault rifle is going to make this room infinitely harder. After a lot of hard work, I finally cleared out the room and made my way to free Captain Keys and the other Marines. And after walking through more hallways and killing enemies, I finally free Keys and the Marines. And well, this is where I start to absolutely hate this mission. As you may know, you have to get Keys out of the Truth and Reconciliation. And unlike every other Halo game where the named NPCs will not die no matter what, for some reason, 2001 Bungie decided to allow Keys to die here. And he can die very, very easily. And oh my gosh, it is the most frustrating thing I have honestly ever done. Now the explosions in CE LASO are much larger than usual, as I've said, and with the tight corridors, it makes it kind of hard to run away from them. But it is possible. You can see the grunt throw it, just move back. You know what happens. However, Keys will try to follow you, but of course, he's going to lag behind you a little bit. So going backwards takes him a long time for some reason. And in LASO, if you die, you restart the whole mission again, right? And I'm not completely sure if Keys dying does this, but honestly at this point, I was not risking it. It took me too long to get up here. And from here on out, most of my deaths were all because of Keys not being able to stay back enough and just let me handle it. But anyway, as you fight through your way through a whole lot of enemies, after having Keys die over and over and over again, I mean, come on, at this part of the mission literally took me a full hour. From playing it regularly, usually takes about max 15 minutes. I get a camo, making my way back to the control room to kill the 3 invisible elites. Luckily, their swords aren't invisible. Seems like they need the Prophet's Fan. But anyway, even this took a lot of tries. When I finally did it, thank goodness for invisible elites having no shields. And shout out for this one for being stuck. I finally completed the mission. That's right, since we skipped the hangar room, this one just ends the year for some reason. But honestly, once we do skip a lot of the mission, he's dying over and over again. It's just honestly so painful to me. Like, what if I didn't just quit fast enough and level restarted? I honestly would have just stopped playing there. It would not have been worth the play for the mission again and do that grenade jump again. Just get up this ship again. I don't think I would have completed this run. But, luckily I did. And luckily, the next 3 missions are so much easier. But on a much brighter note, the rest of the levels I'll be playing in this video will be a lot more easier to do. As we touch down to find the silent cartographer, instead of fighting with the rest of my marines, we turn around to walk to the other side of the island to find a squad of Covenant enemies, and fight through them to get to the interior of the island and get this great multi-kill. Pretty much this is the same as every other enemy encounter in this game. Target the grunts, let them kill their allies. And as we make it to the top of the hill, we find these hunters, and luckily you can just one-shot them with your pistol, like the sniper. Still doesn't mean I don't get super scared when they come to hit me though. But after killing both the hunters, I move on to take out some more trackles, and luckily, like Halo Reach, these enemies won't try to go for your head, they'll be programmed to shoot for your chest. So, if you barely peek over a hill, you'll be able to safely headshot them, and you'll be fine. But after doing what seems like the same thing over and over and over again, I finally make it inside to find 2 more hunters waiting for me. And oh my gosh, I took forever to actually kill these guys. The small room meant I had nowhere to actually hide. I had to run circles around these hunters for a chance to shoot them at the back. And as I've said, I'm bad at this game. Oh, and I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but the LASO for CE takes away your aim assist. So it's not totally my fault. Right? But anyway, after too many tries, I finally got them. And after finding a room that...
This isn't the map room.
We make our way back up to the surface to find an actual map room. I have to kill all the invisible elites. Okay, more like run past them. Then we grab the energy shield, and grab some power weapons from a downed pelican, and take a warthog back to the Forerunner structure. Here, there are a couple hunters and basic enemies that you expect to find, though you were able to just drive through them all. But I found it hard to maneuver to actually hit the hunters on my way in. But oh well. After a couple of tries, I drive down to the hallway and make my way to the map room. You're able to skip a lot of enemies by just like sneaking through this place and trying not to cause attention to yourself. Then I find an energy shield that you can drop on to make sure you take no fall damage. And I fight through more and more enemies. And this is getting a little repetitive to talk about. Then I finally find the map room. I have to make my way out of the cartographer. Now I'm not going to go in insane detail about what happens. I'll just give the highlights. So to skip a couple rooms, they grenade jump up to the part where you can grab an active camo. So I jump there, grab the camo, start running past all the enemies as fast as possible. Then I get my rocket launcher and use an infinite ammo glitch to shoot all the enemies in my way. Right before I get out of these hallways, there's a gold elite, and you can just hit him by sitting at a spot where he can't get you. Though sometimes he decides to jump out and hit you for some reason. Then finally we are outside, there are some hunters, and you can shoot rockets at them from far away as we safely get onto the Pelican to the next mission. And honestly, from Truth and Reconciliation, this one just is so much easier, even if it does take a while to do. And this one has like some nice skips that can really test your skills to fight squads of enemies. So honestly, this is a good mission for LASO. I like it. Okay, and from the last couple of missions, okay, I guess all the missions so far don't really have any really big skips. we get to skip almost the entirety of the mission with this trick. But you start the mission basically how you would start if you weren't doing a LASO run. You have to fight through some rooms, and basically you do the same thing as you in other missions. And for some reason, this took me too many tries. But once you get outside, you'll be able to do this.
Interesting. The weather patterns here seem natural, not artificial. I wonder if the ring's environment systems are malfunctioning, or if the designers wanted the installation to have inclement weather.
This is Fire Team Zulu requesting immediate assistance from any UNSC forces. Does anyone copy? Over.
I didn't think there were any human forces left on this part of the ring.
And with this, you can skip the entire mission. All the enemies will be despawned. It makes this kind of long mission super easy and quick since you can just fly there. You can do another trick with basically the same ending, but you don't get the Banshee. And I personally just think that other trick is way harder to do than this one. So just take the Banshee that the Elite graciously gives you. And with that super easy mission, we get to run into another pretty easy mission. Though there aren't any real skips, you can just run through this mission quickly, since this is the first mission we see the Flood in it. So you start with the mission running past all the Covenant outside. Once you're inside, you shoot some grunts, hit some jackals on the back to get some full shields. And after going through a lot of super similar hallways, and sadly killing this dude, and we see the Marines, Johnson, and Captain Keyes meet the Flood. You get to personally meet the Flood. And they are honestly pretty easy to beat. Except you don't have any weapons on them. Just walk around them, super simple. As long as you don't get trapped in a corner. Which every enemy in this game is like that. But now we have to run out of this installation, try to dodge the Flood and shoot them with a shotgun when needed. But it honestly isn't very difficult to do this, as you are just basically speedrunning this level here. And once you're outside, you can meet up with the Marines and run as quickly as possible to try and end the mission, while dropping some grenades to blow away the Flood combat forms. And this is where I almost had to restart the entire mission. As I was fighting the Flood, at the end, the cutscene started. Since it's not pre-rendered like Halo 2 would be, the Flood was still able to shoot at me, and sadly they killed me. Luckily though, when I quit and restarted, it completed the mission for me, and that was that. I honestly really like this mission. Super easy in a way that doesn't involve a lot of huge skips in the mission. Just make sure you know where you're going. And yeah, that was part 1 of my Combat Evolved LASO experience. It's honestly crazy how different these levels can be in just pure difficulty. Like one level can go from like 3 hours of pure pain and agony to the next level only being like 10 minutes in total. It does feel good though to complete a really difficult level that could take so many tries. But honestly, this game has a whole lot of skulls that aren't in other games. It kind of makes sense. This was like in the between Halo 4 and Halo 5. So and this game didn't originally come with any skulls, so it makes sense that 343 would try to add something new. But honestly, some of these skulls are just crazy. This in Halo 2, I know, has like some weird skulls, like Grunt Funeral. Cool in concept, coupled with some other skulls, can make the game way harder. But it's honestly kind of charming in the way that you can do different stuff. Like it's out for me at least. I know when I get past Halo 2, all the LASOs are going to seem super similar. But at least from this and Reach, they seem pretty different. And I do want to say, I do plan to complete this game's LASO run, but the library is already pretty difficult. I'm only like 5 minutes into the actual level, so it'll probably be a while until I complete it. And I won't get an exact date of when that next build should be out, but I'll probably say I finished the game on like Twitter or something. So follow me there if you want. But after completing half of the levels, I am excited to do the rest, although the next 2 seem like pure pain and agony, so we'll see how I feel then. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a like, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I hope everyone who watched this video has a good day, and goodbye.